Hi everyone, it's Shannon here. We have a couple of balance exercises for you today, and balance exercises can be described over a continuum. So some things are very dynamic, like gymnastics, and some things are a bit more static. The stuff we'll be doing today will be a little bit more static, meaning standing still. So in order to understand if this level of balance exercises is for you, you have to be able to stand probably without holding on. If you need to hold on to stand, these exercises are probably going to be too challenging for you and then probably not safe. But if you can stand without holding on, you'll be able to do some of our balance exercises today. I have a chair nearby in case anything is too challenging, or maybe I want to make sure it's there for safety. So if you're someone that's able to stand and able to let go, we will have some standing exercises today that will be able to challenge your balance system. This also could be good for someone who's recovering from an injury. Even a high-level athlete, when they start with the balance exercises to prevent injury and to allow the body time to acclimate to change, you have to start with the more simple standing balance exercises. And this balance program would be okay for someone like that as well, as long as you've been cleared to do some balance training or some proprioceptive training on the injured area. As always, check with your doctor before you do anything new because we don't want to cause any injury. But if you're safe to proceed with some balance exercises, I'll have a nice progression for you here today. When it comes to balance exercises, safety is the key. We're going to be challenging ourselves, and so you want to make sure you have something around that you can hold on to. I have a chair here. It's actually very flimsy. If I had any balance issues at all, I would be looking for a sturdier dining room chair that has a lot of support so that when you lean onto it, it's not going to give. You can even do the kitchen counter, so standing maybe at the counter so you could hold on there. I've had people do the chair behind them and a table or the counter in front of them so that no matter which way you feel like you're wobbling, you can hold onto the counter or sit in the chair. And then I don't have a good example here, but backing yourself into a corner. So if you find a corner in your house that's not housing any furniture, you can back yourself into it so there's a wall on either side. You can even put the chair in front of you so you're protected on either side with the chair in front of you so that if you become unsteady, then you've got something to support you. When it comes to balance exercises, unfortunately, you do need to become a little unsteady. We want to see a little bit of that wobble when you're doing your exercises. That shows that it's a challenge. We just want a little wobble. So you don't feel out of control, you don't feel like you're going to fall, but that little bit of wiggle challenges your balance system and your balance reactions, and over time allows it to get better. So just doing an exercise that causes no wobble and you feel perfectly fine, perfectly stable, probably is not challenging your system to make it any better. That may be a good exercise for maintenance. Like you can do it, keep doing it, it'll prevent you from going backwards in your balance, but you're not going to make any improvements. So our first exercise today is just standing. And so I'm going to go through a couple progressions here to see where you are in the balance continuum. And so these first couple ones might be easy depending on where you are. So I'm standing here and I'm not holding on and I feel steady. Because of that, I'm going to take it to the next level, which is going to be narrowing my base. You'll see in the camera here, I'm putting my feet all the way together so that they're touching. The closer our feet are, the more challenging it is to our balance. So have your support ready in case you need it. But you're going to hold this position 30 seconds. And what this does, if this is challenging for you, it allows you to get control over a small base. Now our arms are helpful. So as you're standing in that position, having your arms out at the sides can, if it's very challenging for you, you can use your arms to make it a little bit easier. Put them down at your side if you don't need them out to the side, and we can even cross them. So having your feet together and all the way crossed, actually makes it more challenging because you don't have your arms to balance you. So we'll hold this position for 30 seconds. And if that feels manageable, we're going to go on to the next one. So the next exercise is holding this position with your feet close together, but now try closing your eyes. So we're going to remove one of our balance supports, and that's our vision. And so I'm going to have you close your eyes. Have that support surface nearby. If you're wobbling and you feel like you occasionally need to touch it, you can do so. If not, just hover your hand over. And if you can only go a couple seconds before you have to hold on and regroup, that's okay. The more you do the exercise, you may find that you can go longer without having to hold on. One way to modify this, if that's too hard, is just to keep your feet wide. You can close your eyes with your feet wide and still get the challenge to your balance system if you can't do feet close together. So the goal is always to make the exercise safe. You should feel like you are challenged, you're working to keep your balance, but by no means do you feel like you are going to buckle or fall. So we always want to keep safety at the forefront when we're doing these exercises. So the reason we make our feet close together, it's because it's like walking on a balance beam. The closer your feet get, the harder it is to balance. And the reason we close our eyes is because our vision actually plays a part in our balance system. So we have three main inputs to our brain about our balance. One is the sensation of our legs with our environment. So kind of the feeling of your feet touching the floor. Your knees can feel if your knees are bent or straight. And that gives you information, a sensory information into your brain about where you are in space. So if you have neuropathy or sensory changes in your feet, these balance exercises might be too challenging, or you might want to see a therapist to design a specific one for you because you're going to have inherent balance issues because that input from your feet is impaired. And the other thing is our vision. So this last exercise, I had you close your eyes because our vision gives us input as to where we are in space. And so you'll notice that you might feel more unsteady with your eyes closed without that visual input. The third input is our vestibular system, or our inner ear equilibrium system, and that gives us a sense of where we are in space as well, which is why you can get up at night if you need to use the restroom or to check on something, and you can still make your way balance-wise in the dim lighting, is because we also have that input from our inner ear. So damage to any of those three areas is going to impact your balance, but we use it by minimizing one of those areas is to challenge your system. So as you remove that visual input, it's actually more challenging to balance. Now I have some foam here, and you can actually stand on a cushion when you do this exercise. It could be a pillow, a yoga mat, a folded up blanket, anything that makes it so that you don't bottom out and touch the floor. And now I'm impacting that sensory input to the feet. And so again, having my safety surface there, I can try just standing 30 seconds on the squishy cushion. And it's going to be a little bit different than standing just on the floor. So we'll hold this for 30 seconds. Now, if the feet together is too difficult, the way to make it easier is to separate your feet apart. You can stand feet apart on the cushion and get your balance here with your eyes open. You can even put your arms out if you feel like you need that extra bit of dynamic support, or arms at your sides, the hardest one being arms across your chest. Now, if after the 30 seconds of eyes open on the cushion, you can also try eyes closed. Be careful with this one, it's definitely more challenging. Even someone with good balance is going to get some wiggle because that soft surface is going to make it a little bit more challenging and a little bit more dynamic. So you close your eyes. You may not want to keep your arms crossed, so you can have your hands out towards your support surface. So this is here for you to feel safe. If you can't go 10 seconds, then don't, or 30 seconds, then don't. Do what you can. Open your eyes if you need to get your bearings, and try again. Same thing here, the modification of having your feet wider so it's not as challenging is a possibility. You can add arms across your chest to make it a little bit more challenging, but find the spot that's manageable for you, and we're going to hold that for 30 seconds. I'm going to remove my cushion. Another exercise I like is working on getting up from the chair. So although this is more of a strengthening exercise, there is balance needed to get up and once you're standing. So you can do arms out in front of you if you need to. This is the easier version with arms out. It actually helps you lift forward enough to get your balance. You can do arms across your chest. And if you need the help, have a chair with armrests, or you can push off the chair itself. But the least amount of arm support, see when I come up here, that challenges my balance. We're going to do 10. Now, if you're an athlete who's recovering, if you have enough strength and you've had clearance to put all the weight on the leg that was injured, you can try one leg. Now, this is a much more challenging task, and this is only if someone feels like they've got the strength and high enough level balance skills to challenge themselves in this manner. I'll do 5 on the other side. Now my right leg is not as good as my left, and you'll see that I'm a little bit more wobbly here, and I occasionally feel the need to want to put my foot down. Good. If you can't do the single leg, that's fine. You can do another set just of the regular up and down from the chair. Now, catch your breath. I know doing those up and down from the chair gets your heart rate up. I'm feeling it a little bit too. But we're going to go back to standing. And I'm going to back up so you can see my foot position. So we're going to work on one foot in front of the other. So if you can stand with one foot directly in front of the other and let go and get your balance, that's going to be the position you hold for 30 seconds. If you can't get one foot in front of the other, if you can hold it 20 seconds, that's okay. You're still getting there. But if you fall out as soon as you try to get your foot in front, there's a way to modify this one. So maybe it's just a small step forward, and you're just holding your feet just slightly staggered, one ahead of the other. Maybe you can go real far out. Maybe it's almost all the way in front. Maybe it's not. Maybe your feet are pretty wide, and even just doing a little step with your feet wide is enough to give you a challenge. The goal is to find a position, and for me it's this one, that you get a little bit of wiggle standing there. And you're going to hold that for 30 seconds. And I will say, I'm not measuring the time here because I'm describing such a variety of modifications. You can kind of keep an eye on your clock. Once you find the position that fits for you. Okay? And then we want to do the same thing on the other foot. And they may not be the same side to side. Like I said, my right leg is not as good at balancing as my other on my left. And so you may find that this position is not the same as it was on the other side. So I can still do my feet lined up, one foot in front of the other, but you may find that your foot's maybe a little bit wider on this one. Maybe you can go further out on this one. Maybe you can get it closer to almost all the way in front. Or if it feels really easy, arms across your chest. And 30 seconds here. If you're that athlete that's recovering from an injury and this is too easy, remember our other two options are always to mess with our input to our balance systems by either closing your eyes or standing on the cushion. So you could add the cushion, 30 seconds here, eyes open, or just standing here, do eyes closed, which you'll see for me already brings on a little bit more wobble with my right leg back, because this right leg is not as good as the left. And then you can also work on trying to get one foot in front of the other, walking. So this is a little bit more dynamic. Okay, I know I can do that without falling, so I don't have to be as close to my chair. If this makes you uncomfortable, walk along the length of your counter so that you have that there with you and you can kind of reach out for support whenever you need it. Okay? Again, if you're that higher level balanced person, you can do arms across your chest because that's more challenging. We don't have the support of our arms to help as we go through. And when you get to the end, you could try backwards. Backwards always adds a unique challenge because we can't see where we're going. So that adds an inherent balance difficulty. Most people feel less comfortable when they're moving in that backwards direction because we can't see. We're more balanced forward because our feet go forward, and so we're just more inherently stable in that manner. All right, the next exercise, if you could grab a block or a box. And one other thing you can try is tapping your foot on a box. So the height of the box is going to be directly correlated to how difficult it is to keep your balance. So if this is difficult for you, you want to start with something low, like even a phone book. I have one of my kids' boxes here, which is actually pretty tall. And the goal, if you need the support surface to start, you can do that. Even being at the bottom of your stairs and holding onto the rail and tapping your feet on the bottom step. But just some slow and controlled tapping on the support surface. You don't want to put all your weight through it. I can't with mine anyway because this will collapse. But the goal is to keep your weight in the back leg, and this one is kind of free. So we're working on a little bit of standing on one foot. So again, you can hold on to your support surface as you go so that you don't feel like you're going to fall, especially if this is something new. If this is feeling easy, this isn't a challenge, you can try to let go and go nice and slow. We don't want to see this real fast where you're just trying to get your feet on the ground. The key with balance is working on control of the movement. So nice and slow here. And as always, if this gets easy, you can increase the height, like we said, if you're starting with the phone book, You can increase it to the bottom step of your stairs or something like this. This is like a 12-inch block here. So the higher you're tapping your foot, the longer you're balancing on one foot. And if it gets really easy, adding in the cushion so that your support surface is even a little bit more challenging. Always have the rail here or the chair for support. You never want to fall or put yourself at risk of falling. We always want to set up the support surface for safety. And then one of the last exercises I want to look at today is, are you able to stand on one foot? It may be that you can't go for very long. Maybe time it or just count to get a rough idea. Can you go 10 seconds? 10 seconds is pretty good. 30 seconds is better. Indefinitely is the best. And then the goal would be to try to make it similar side to side. Like if you can do 10 seconds on the right and 30 on the left, although that right leg's pretty good, it's different than your better side. So the goal would be to practice that. So try to go longer than what you can do. The way to do that is, as you're wobbling, tap down intermittently. The longer you're practicing it, the more time it gives your body to become successful at it. I also have my rail here, or my chair, my support surface. You can do two hands so that you feel extra steady. Now maybe for you, just lifting up is difficult and holding on. Then start there. The goal for this exercise, all of these exercises, is to give yourself a challenge that is just slightly more than what is easy, so you feel the effort, but by no means are you wobbling, unsteady, or at risk of falling. So if just lifting one foot up while holding on to the support surface is fine, and then maybe occasionally you feel like you can kind of let go. And then maybe after you've done this exercise video for a week, maybe you feel like I only need one hand after practicing it for a while. Once your balance system has been exposed to the challenges, the more it adapts to that and gets more efficient, more successful when it comes to keeping you upright. Now, if that's too hard, you can bring your box back in. Put your foot on the box and just hold your balance there. So most of the weight is back in this standing leg. This one back here. I'm not leaning into the box or the support surface. I've got my weight here, my support surface here if I need it, and maybe you can let go a little bit. If you're really wobbly, hold on. And the goal is to see if you can get to 30 seconds. If you can do 30 seconds holding on pretty